Good afternoon, LinkedIn. Over the last week or two, I've found myself doing a whole lot more work in the aged care space. It's quite common this time of year, as we're all meeting with family and friends and loved ones, that often conversations are had about moving someone out of their home into some type of residential care arrangement. So it's quite common this time of year. There's a noticeable increase in the amount of inquiries that we receive, as do a lot of the placement agents, a lot of the aged care facilities and so on and so forth. So this is the really busy time for them. So I thought I'd share with you my top 3 tips on, I suppose, negotiating and finding your way through the maze that can be the aged care system. My first tip is negotiate the RAD, or what's known as the refundable accommodation deposit. This is the amount of money that the facility charges for the room that the resident is going to occupy. Often is the case though that the facilities are often quite negotiable with this figure. The amount that they advertise on their website or on the government websites is the maximum that they can charge for the room. But those that I've been dealing with over the last few weeks, we've found more often than not rather, that they're open to negotiating that. So if the facility is looking to charge more than $550,000 for the room, they've had to get special approval from a government body to charge that, and it's often those facilities where they're negotiable on the rates. Now obviously if they've got long wait lists and they're full, they're probably going to be less open to negotiating, but those that have rooms available and maybe they've been sitting there empty for a little while, more often than not they're open to accepting a lower refundable accommodation deposit than what they advertise. Obviously the lower you can get that down, the better, as it means more money left in your pocket at the end of the day. My second tip is to inquire about low means beds. Now most facilities set aside a portion of their rooms for people that are deemed to have low means. That is, they're based on a particular assessment. They don't have the money available to pay the advertised rate for a room. So based on a particular formula, the facility will take a lower amount for the room. Now sometimes these rooms are identical to the ordinary rooms in the facility, but sometimes they're not. So best to ask the question up front. Sometimes they might be down the back, don't have the nicest view, they might be a little bit noisy, maybe they're unrenovated, something like that. So best to ask up front. The reason it's important to ask up front is that accessing these rooms is determined by how you complete a Centrelink or a Medicare assessment for combined income and assets assessment. Based on the outcome of that assessment, you'll either be deemed to have the means to pay for a room and you pay the advertised rate, or you're deemed to not have the means and you become a low means resident. There's some extra government funding available there. Once you're deemed as low means for that facility, that's pretty much it. There's not a whole lot you can do about changing it. And if you come back as low means and you end up in one of the less desirable rooms, maybe friends or family might have been in a position to help you get into a better room. Once you've been assessed as low means, the facility isn't actually allowed to take any further money from you that would have otherwise got you into one of the means capable beds. So there is some work that can be done beforehand if you would likely come back as a low means resident in making your assets look as though you do have means, so you can borrow some money from friends and family and the like. But it is important that that is done before the assessment is completed by Medicare. And my third tip is explore the options available to you around paying the RAD, or the refundable accommodation deposit. You don't have to pay it as one big lump sum. You can convert some or all of that to a daily payment. Where you are getting the assistance from family or friends towards paying that refundable accommodation deposit, it can often work out much more favourable to you to be paying a daily amount rather than a lump sum. So that's only 3 of my tips here. There's a lot more to consider. As with many of these large financial decisions, I'd encourage you to get advice if you or a loved one is looking at moving into one of these facilities. So please don't hesitate to reach out to me if you've got any questions. I'm more than happy to help. Thank you.